Hello everyone and welcome to my review of the Moza R5. It's this direct drive wheelbase, the steering wheel as well, and the pedals. And as you can tell, obviously, I'm not in my big sim rig today. Why? Well, there's a good reason for that, and that's because I think the Moza R5 might be the most accessible way into getting a direct drive wheelbase for sim racing. And that's why I wanted to try it out in what I think, whoa, is probably the most likely scenario that someone's gonna get it. So I'm running here on a very basic GT Mega wheel stand. I've also just sitting on a normal chair. I'm playing Assetto Corsa Competizione on my laptop, and it's just connected to a TV running at 1080p. So there's nothing special going on here. This is all very entry-level stuff, and I think this is the most likely scenario for someone trying to think about whether the R5 is right for them. You're not gonna have a big sim rig already. You're not gonna have triple monitors. You're probably not gonna have expensive subscriptions to iRacing or whatever. So this might be, hopefully, whoa, all over the grass, a sort of similar setup what you might be thinking. And I have to say already, the real star of the show is definitely the wheelbase. This wheelbase is better than my Fanatec CSL Elite, and it's all about, it's not power, it's about the smoothness of the delivery with the force feedback. It'd be very difficult to explain this in the video, but essentially the detail is just always there. It's not coming in peaks and troughs. With my Fanatec CSL Elite, there's moments where I just don't have any force feedback. There's moments where it just switches on. It's like, oh, okay, now something's happening. But with the Moza R5, the detail is always there, and that's the benefit that I've seen with direct drive wheelbases when I try them out at expos and things. And the fact that you can get this, I'll put the exact price of the bundle in the description, but this is very much an entry level setup and way in to getting a direct drive. Sort of blows my mind a little bit, because I remember when I bought my Fanatec CSL Elite, that was kind of the bee's knees, unless you wanted to go for a Fanatec Podium or the DD1 or the DD2. But in terms of that price level, the CSL Elite was the best thing you could get, and that's why I got it. And this now sits in the Fanatec CSL Elite price point, and it's competing really with the Fanatec CSL DD, which obviously has a lot of production and availability issues at the moment. Now the setup itself, there are some shortcomings. Definitely the way that I'm pushing back on my chair when I get on the pedals is a compromise. But I have to say, the Moza R5 brake pedal I was really worried about, and the fact that I'm pushing back on the chair is because I've added the spring there that they give you in the brake mod pack, and that means that I do have some amount of resistance at the top end. It's not a load cell. The brakes are definitely the weak point of this setup. The direct drive is the star. The wheel itself is pretty good as well. The brake is nothing to shout home about, but it does have that resistance in the spring, and you can see that's why I'm pushing back on my chair. That's something I'm used to, by the way, with my Playseat Challenge. So what I'm going to show you now is, I'm going to show you the dashboard and the interface of the Moza R5, so you can see what it's like if you get one, the options you have to customize it and calibrate it. Let's have a look at that. So this is the Moza Pit House. It's the equivalent, I guess, of the Fanatec Fanalab system that they have, and it's basically your interface to calibrate the wheel, the pedals. You can also launch your games as well. Now, interestingly, when I first started this, the wheel was soft locked at 90 degrees, and it really is soft locked. This is not, the direct drive would normally spin all the way around, but here you can see that it's applied a soft lock. I've had it at 540. That's kind of what I normally do for GT racing, and you can see that it's soft locked there as well. In terms of the throttle, you can see you can calibrate that, so you can set a dead zone manually yourself if you're someone that rests on the pedals. I used to do that a lot. The brake is interesting because as I've added the brake mod, I had to bring back the calibration, so definitely make sure you do that. And as you can see, I'm able to modulate kind of in this top end here, which is quite important for trail braking. So it's not the same as, I would say, for example, the default T150 pedals. I think they're probably equivalent to my Thrustmaster T3PA Pro pedals. So they're not a load cell, but they do give me some modulation ability there with the positioning. And the clutch, I haven't put the clutch because I'm not really going to use the clutch because I don't have a shifter. So that means I've been able to spread the pedals out as well. And you can see with the R5 base, you're able to change the intensity. Let's have a look what else we can do here. So we've got all of these settings. We've got the advanced settings. I hope there's going to be somewhere where we can actually maybe just really dial down inertia, wheel frictions. There's quite a lot of stuff that we can do here that I don't pretend to be an expert on. And at the moment, we've got the torque limit at 100. There's also it looks like a EQ graph for music here with the hertz things at the bottom, but again, we can tweak that. And then we've got a miscellaneous thing here, temperature control strategy as well. It's on radical at the moment, which I do like. So yeah, this is all your stuff for the R5. Wheelbase has some preset modes as well, but most importantly for me, I've just set it at 540 and I've kept the wheel strength at the maximum because it's not the strongest wheel in the world, so don't do that. This is the RPM indicator on the top. It's definitely not as nice as my Fanatec wheel light on the CSL Elite because it's not those very, very, very bright LEDs. It's sort of this, I don't know if those are preset colours actually, so it's that bit definitely isn't as nice. You can see here at the moment we've got it on the RPM indicator, which is absolutely great. That's what we want. And a big shout out actually to the triggers on this thing. I thought initially these triggers were going to be similar to the shifters I have on the Fanatec WRC rim, which is similar to the, do they call it the P1 rim? But these are just generally a bit better. They're a bit sharper. They make that sound, which I quite like, so now I shifted up. And then we got all these buttons. Now, it being a PC only setup this, you really have to go into the settings and apply all of them individually. So if you like that kind of stuff, that's going to be great. If you're coming from console, that's going to be really, really annoying that you don't have those preset. That's just sort of the way it is. The pedals here, the brake, you see we have output curves. So there's quite a lot of customization we can do. So we can drag all this stuff around. We can also calibrate the brakes again, which is at the outset. You can have these sort of different curves on the brakes, which are very, very, very interesting actually. So if we have a curve that goes like this, you can see that's going to give us more modulation from about 80%, but it's not linear. So that's very, I might have to try all that stuff out. So I've got it very linear at the moment. Well, I've got it completely linear, but you could also do it like this and basically give yourself more to play with at the top end, or you could do it like this, give yourself more play top end, and also a bit at the bottom end as well when you just want to apply the brakes a little bit to get that rotation of a car. The throttle curve I wouldn't really change at all. Although obviously if you were to do something like this might be helpful if you're spinning up the wheels in some sims. But interesting to see on the software side, they've got all of this stuff. And yeah, I think this is actually a bit more advanced than the Fanatec stuff. I think Fanatec need to catch up a little bit here. Let's see what else we got. So here we can see this is a firmware section of the software, and it looks like we're on the latest firmware. The interesting is giving me a red dot there. I don't know if that red dot is always there. It looks like we've got it on the latest firmware. All of this stuff as well you can control from your phone, I think, which is pretty cool. But good to see that the firmware here seems to be pretty straightforward. And I quite like the software off the bat. I mean, it just looks a little bit more modern. I mean, I was a little bit harsh on the Fanatec stuff maybe, but if you go back to Thrustmaster stuff, the Thrustmaster software looks like it was created for Windows 95. Well, this is actually a modern 2023 setup, which I quite like. And something to get used to is this soft lock on the DD, so you can have it however you want it. There might be some games where you want a really short maximum steering angle, and there'll be other games where you want it all the way. You can see, I think it goes up to 2000 degrees. Not sure where you want that. And on the right hand side, we've got our launcher for all of our games. So let's jump into Assetto Corsa and see what it's like there. So welcome to Assetto Corsa, everyone. We're on Assetto Corsa, the Ferrari 599X, at the Nordschleife, and honestly, it's blowing my mind that look at the chair I'm sitting on, for goodness sake, and I'm having an engaging sim racing experience racing on my laptop, and that's all really down to the direct drive. The direct drive is the star of the show here, there's no doubt about it. The amount of detail that it's giving me is honestly unbelievable. It's given me the confidence just to throw the car into corners. I know when I'm losing the grip. I know at the moment I'm losing the grip, I know that I've lost it. It's not like I'm trying to catch things after. It's a completely different racing experience, to be honest. I never really understood before, why people really liked doing these sort of sims, you know, time trialing the Nordschleife in Assetto Corsa. I've always been about, I've always been about the racing other people, but that's because I've been experiencing, I think, sim racing in a slightly different way. There's just so much detail going on here. It's almost overwhelming. It's like, there's constant detail. That buzzing you can hear, oh, we're gonna go wide. That buzzing you can hear is, I think it's the DD trying to, I made a bit of a mess of that. I think it's a DD trying to unscrew itself from the wheel stand. Tell you what we're gonna do, we're gonna go chase camera here, and you're gonna see exactly what the car's doing. I've lost a lot of points in the Assetto Corsa land. This is a track I've driven in real life. I didn't drive it like this when I was at Nordschleife, I can tell you. I mean, I'm going to review, oh, I've gone wide here. I'm going to review the setup as a whole because there are pros and cons with the setup. That's not all to do with the Moza stuff. That's not all to do with the GT Mega wheel stand stuff. There's some stuff that can definitely be improved, but the core of this experience, honestly, I do think if you're someone that's interested in racing and you've always looked at sim racing and thought that might be cool, this would get you hooked. 100% this would get you hooked. It reminds me actually, I don't know if it's because the rim's quite small, but it reminds me of back in the day going to the arcades and doing racing games at the arcades, because that was where you got the best graphics, the fastest frame rates, the most intense experience. Ugh. And the Moza wheelbase here isn't really putting a foot wrong. Now, if we could pair this with a load cell on something really rigid, that could be an absolute game changer. And we are going to take this, to the GT Mega Prime rig and we're going to bolt it all in. But like I said, I wanted to show you this in an entry-level setup because I think this is where most people might have something like this. You can put it away in the corner, you can fold it away. And comparatively, sim racing is unfortunately not the cheapest thing to do, but comparatively, compared to other direct drive wheels, it's not going to break the bank. But let me know in the comments what you think about this combination. Is there something a little bit intriguing? Is it weird seeing a sim racer? Turning a bit early there. Is it weird seeing a sim? Oh! No! It's absolute carnage at the ring. Is seeing a sim racer racing on a setup like this a little bit weird? Does it make it more accessible? Let me know. I'm absolutely barreling in here. Oh man, right, I think I need to reset, But there we go, that's my first impressions of the Moza R5. There's definitely some vibrations going on here. You can see that I've clamped it to the wheel stand. I wonder if some of these bolts on the side might be a little bit loose. In fact, I want to see what's causing that vibration. It's kind of hard for me to tell. It might be coming from the rim itself, but I can't really tell, to be honest. There's definitely something rattling here, which I'm going to investigate. But overall, the setup, I mean, this is crazy. This can just go in a corner now, and it's absolutely packed away outside. And then when you want to do some sim racing, you pull it out. I know GT Mega do make an extension of this wheel stand where the seat is kind of bolted in. So I might have tried that. I might have tried on the Playseat Challenge as well. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. This is the Moza R5 bundle. It is a really accessible way in sim racing. This is a star of the show. The rim is pretty good as well. The brake, I think, could do with some work. That's the overall impressions. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.